Hey everybody, it's Bitey. I'm here to film a video about how to survive being save your play and or an EJ and stand up or against or whatever, however you want to put it, to the tribe and stand strong on your own DI. And I know what you're thinking. You know, you're like, Jara, the goal is to not swing. And I know that that's true, but sometimes you have set the status quo to a certain standard that if you were to change that standard, it benefits enough people that they're going to be really pissed off, and to some degree you're going to have to single decide for yourself this time and swing the other way. And then you can course correct. You can go back to double deciding, but you have to get through the initial phase of just really pissing everyone off. I wish that wasn't the case, but it is. The first step is not going to be very surprising. It's not that deep. It's to do the sleep. I know. Opposite of play. Totally unpredictable. Who could have predicted this? But no, really. You have to do the sleep if you're going to be able to go up against the tribe. I don't know, some of y'all are sleep last, and that's even harder for you. But it doesn't matter. There's just no other way. And when I say do the sleep, I don't mean do the sleep once. I mean do it multiple times a week. Period. And the thing that you have going in your favor is that you have enough blast, play, and consume to find out what works for you. Because there's a lot of different ways to achieve doing the sleep. Okay, you could journal. You could go on walks. You could, my favorite method is to boil myself alive in a bathtub with headphones in. That's my favorite way, but like, you could do a video journal. There's a lot of different ways, but there's no way around doing it often, because you have to get to know yourself enough to be sure of what you want, or you're going to fall down every time. Also, you need to make sure that whatever activity you choose, you make it long enough, because you're going to have to, you know, deal with the monkey mind. I don't know if you've ever heard the mind is a monkey, but that's especially true if you're save your play. You're going to have to wait and sit in silence long enough to get past all the simulated play of the tribe's voices pinging around in your head. It's going to take you a while to get past that just to hear your own voice. So again, I can't stress this enough, and it feels obvious. You have to do the sleep, period. And you have to do it often so that you can update based on your current situation. And if you're feminine, DI at the bottom like me, so that you don't fucking forget. Okay, another shitty little tip is once you have started doing the sleep enough to kind of get a vibe on what you want and how you feel and what you think, yada fucking yada, change the consume that you do take in to match your DI. So it kind of has this effect of simulating tribe voices that are pinging through your head anyway, and like making them match you. Basically, it's like you're hearing your own opinion echoed back. And I know people act like, you hear people talk about that in a negative sense when it comes to online and the algorithm and how the internet is an echo chamber, but in this particular instance, that is good for you, because you're so likely to abandon your own feelings or opinions. And yeah, so I would find people on YouTube, on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, that agree with exactly you. They feel exactly the way you do. And yeah, because the amount of time that you're doing the play and the consume just so far outweighs the sleep that it's going to be really hard if you don't optimize things towards like It's like having blinders on, you know, like narrowing things to the benefit of your own self. Okay. So another thing that you're going to have to do is make sure that you're not in the drama triangle. And I will put up a picture of the drama triangle and kind of explain to you what it is. But basically, you need to make sure that you're not relying on someone else to make sure that your needs are met, okay? And you need to learn what a boundary is. And a boundary is not the same, and how to set them, because a boundary is not the same thing as it's not a request, and it's not an expectation. So you can't just give out requests and expectations and expect the world to change for you, because it won't. What you're gonna have to do, and this is where you are gonna hit reality, okay? You have to say, okay, if you do this, then I am afraid that I'm going to have to do something else, which most of the time the something else is remove yourself. So for instance, it could be, if you call me names again, I'm going to have to end this conversation and walk away, and you can talk to me in about 3 hours. And people will learn real quick if you have the chops to do that. But that is an essential part of it, is being able to set boundaries and make sure you're not in the drama triangle. And that's a lot of self-pressure, and that's really where your DI hits reality. So yeah, there's that. In just a second, I'm gonna cut to something explaining the drama triangle to you guys. Okay, this is the drama triangle. As you can see, you end up in one of 3 roles throughout your life. And basically in every role, you end up being the victim, because you put your happiness, integrity, values, and you make it dependent on someone else's behavior. So even if you're in the rescuer role, right? You end up living your entire life by what someone is and isn't willing to do. And even if it seems like you're doing a good thing, what you're really doing is enabling a person. So yeah, basically what you need to do is you need to put yourself in the driver's seat of your life and not give away that power by either saying that you're the victim when you could change your circumstances, like at the little bottom of the triangle, or persecuting people and being like, well, if they didn't fucking suck, then everything wouldn't be this way. Or helping people to the point that you burn yourself out and be like, well, if this person took care of themselves or others, then I wouldn't have to overcompensate for them, like in the rescuer role, because all you're really doing is hurting you and them. So hold yourself accountable. Encourage others, don't do it for them. Okay, so I'm having to film this in segments because I'm in the hospital. But the next tip is find you about 3 little friends. They can be off the internet. Maybe that's even preferable because they're not having to deal with any of the weight of your decisions. They literally just solely exist to support you and lift you up. And you do that for them, and they can be across the world and it still work. And that'll be just enough to keep you afloat, or at least it is for me. I would die without my 3 little friends. So yeah, that's my next tip. 3 little friends who don't gain anything or lose anything, but just want to see you succeed for the sake of it. Okay, next you're going to, if you can, try to rehearse what it'll be like for them to react negatively and what you'll do in response. So just kind of mull that over, how they might respond. Worst case to best case scenario, because sometimes people respond well. You never know. And yeah, practice mentally going through the motions of how you're going to handle it. Hello, I almost forgot a couple of things because I'm a silly little goose. One of the things that I forgot to say was that if you're going to piss off the tribe, you should probably make sure you have your physiological needs being able to be met if you piss them off, like food, you know, and then safety and security, like housing, you know, because sometimes that can happen. You can lose your money, your job, which is an access to money, your house. Make sure, if you can, to have provisions for those things should things go south real fast. Okay, and another thing I forgot to talk about, being a silly goose, is this is really important. I don't hear people talk about it as much as I would like to hear people talk about it. Basically, when you do something out of your comfort zone, share your feelings, basically go against the flow, or do something you feel may get you judged, some decider shit. What you're going to need to keep in mind is the fact that your ego, or as some may call it, your inner critic, which is, I would say, a part of your ego, shows up and kicks your ass afterwards, which is kind of its job. It's just trying to love you, but like, it's trying to shoo you back into the hole that you were in before and get you to take everything you said back. And well, you don't want to do that because you just put in all this effort into trying to go against the tribe. So anyways, I hope you stand strong, and just keep in mind that if the next day or a few days later you're feeling like shit and all of a sudden you're depressed and anxious and kind of freaking out, that's totes normal. It sucks, but it's totally normal and a kind of an expected part of the process. Well, hey. Okay, so I'm gonna try to finish this video. I've had to film it really chaotic. What's new? But I think that's good. Anyway, so it actually kind of applies to what I'm gonna say. And basically it's the last step or whatever of how to survive being a lead play / an EJ. But really, I think this kind of works for everybody. And the last step, I'm gonna call it getting the Twilight two-way vision. It's like a forward motion enlightenment. There's this lyric in a Sleep Token song that goes, "If my fate is a bad collision, then my mind is an open highway. Give me the Twilight two-way vision. Give me one last ride on that sunset skylane." Okay, and what I mean by that super woo-woo NF statement is that if you can do this, you will have access and way more control over yourself and consequently the things around you than everyone else. You're basically a superhero. You've reached enlightenment. At least not necessarily in the sense of you don't need to eat any food and you sit in a hut and meditate all day, but like in a way that you have way more tools than everyone else and you can move forward. Wow. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna need to do to get the Twilight two-way vision is to love yourself. Be committed to loving all the parts of yourself unconditionally, but not in a way that promotes bad behavior. You need to love yourself like you're a fucking EJ, like you're a crackhead EJ. And if you are a crackhead EJ, take that energy that you would spend towards others and put it towards yourself. And that's going to be weird at first, but it is the only way. So yeah, and by unconditionally, I mean, oh, I did this, and I don't mean, oh, I did this and I love me unconditionally anyway. No, I mean, like I said before, you got to go do the sleep, and you are excavating every part of yourself, all the good, all the bad, all the ugly, all the neutral, all that doesn't make sense. And you are committing to investing and loving those things. And they're movable and they're negotiable. It's not set in stone. So loving yourself is very active and exploratory and the foundation of all of it. All right. Okay. This is pretty much wrapping it up, but the last thing is going to be that it's going to be a lot like what walking really is. Okay. And so walking isn't defying gravity. It's working with gravity. Walking is a series of controlled falls where more than anything, you are lightly imposing your will on gravity and you using gravity to move you forward. So you're definitely using the thing that is pulling you down and the external elements as much as you are imposing your will upon the external, okay? And that allows you to be able to literally walk and move in the direction you want to. I mean, the parallel is 1-to-1, okay? So what I mean by that is that when you're getting the Twilight two-way vision and reaching enlightenment, but not in a way that you're being a monk in a tent somewhere, that you're trying to achieve a goal, that you're trying to go against the tribe, you're trying to do whatever you're trying to do that feels impossible. You're remembering that you have all this internal mobility. And so when things come up in the real world and in the physical, you know how to move with the universe just enough to be able to make a little progress forward and a little progress forward and a little progress forward. Whew. So that's basically what I'm saying is like you can do all this up here, and I'm not saying that it's going to fix your outside circumstances. Gravity is still going to be gravity. You're still going to be being pulled down, but you're learning to jump the waves to try to make it to the sandbar. You are learning to work with nature and not against it, and you can do that because you're so movable up here and so strong, because all of the different aspects of you are on the same page. There's so much less incongruence, that the outside world has so much less power over you, and even when it does, you can bend and move with it. Whew, it's hot in this car. So yeah, basically, you got to be committed to loving yourself and remember that you are movable, and even outside circumstances are movable. And the Twilight two-way vision is like AA, basically. It's knowing what you can and can't control, and practicing state management and mindfulness. Gas brakes, gas brakes, gas brakes. And then believe me when I tell you, believe me when you see it in me. I wish I had kept my typing video. That you will get there. You will see substantial change if you do this. And you will be able to do things you never thought were even remotely possible. Anyway, I love you all. I wish you the best. And I'm sorry I filmed this so chaotically, but a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do.